Is the IT security and hacking culture a meritocracy? Meritocracy is a system in which economic goods or political power, so success, is given to people on the basis of talent, effort, and achievement rather than wealth or social class. We generally want to think that in our hacking culture, only hardworking, skilled, and talented individuals are successful. They are the ones that get the most money, so economical goods, and are the most famous and thus are very influential, so political power. In this video I might express some controversial views because I include my subjective feelings. And I can say right away I don't have a clear opinion, and you will see that I suffer a lot from cognitive dissonance. This cognitive dissonance is the reason why I try to put my thoughts into this video. But this also means my views and opinions will change over time, so don't think this is written in stone. I divide this video into 3 large chapters. First, I want to talk about feelings, my background, then facing reality and my observations in the IT industry, and at the end, talk about social media. Chapter 1. My background. If you have seen my T-Short Story playlist, you know a lot about my life and getting into IT security. The first few conferences I visited were very influential to me, because I didn't know much about hacking yet, and I saw these incredible researchers talking about really cool work they have done. While the environment was mostly dominated by men, there were several people openly transgender, gay, cross-dressing, or even just having blue hair. While it obviously wasn't a very diverse crowd, for me, coming from a sheltered small German village, I felt like in this hacking culture, gender, age, sex, how you dress, nothing matters. What matters is your skill and the work you have done. This was amplified online because, as you know, we all have nicknames and anonymous avatars. When reading Frack articles, I have no clue who wrote that or how that person looks like. It could be a good-looking Chad, a 50-year-old woman, or a polar bear. It doesn't matter. When you send in your talk to a conference, nobody knows how you look. The talk is chosen based on the topic, and I will only see how you look once you walk on the stage. During this time, I was also playing CTF, and there it was double anonymous. Not only every player used nicknames, but they were also part of teams. So I see these high scores in these team names, but I have no clue who is behind it. I only see that the PPP team was the best in the world that year. And when I looked at the trainings offered at conferences, they were super expensive, I could never afford that, but I saw that many amazing researchers who have shared awesome work are the trainers. They are at the top of their field and they educate others. And these very first impressions were so impactful to me that I carry these feelings around 10 years later. When I started Live Overflow making educational videos 5 to 6 years ago, I was very scared about the public perception. I was not an expert. I have not proven myself, I have not shared any good research at a conference, I'm not known for my skills, and yet here I am trying to make educational videos. I felt like I was not allowed to do so, and if anybody would find out that me, Fabian, who tries to work as an IT security consultant, is such a noob, that would be bad. That's why I started this channel without a face anonymously. The reason for why I was scared was because I felt this way about others. I harshly judge everybody who has not done what is necessary to prove their skill, yet present themselves as experts or become very popular. I judge everybody, so I also judge myself. And over the years, when I learned more and more and I eventually presented my own work at a conference, I did well in hacking competitions and I received good feedback from researchers I look up to, I became more comfortable. Now I felt like I was allowed to have this YouTube channel. Now I can be proud and say confidently that I make good stuff here. That being said, am I good enough to warrant over 600,000 subscribers, 70,000 Twitter followers, and the fame that comes with that? No, I think I haven't earned enough merit to put this success into balance. A few years ago, it even took me a long time to eventually accept that I could ask for Patreon or YouTube membership money. For a long time, I thought I was not good enough to do that. I like to talk myself down. And that maybe sounds weird to many, but when I see I could be better, I want to be better. I want to earn my success through merit, which results in me wanting to learn more. I slowly increase my merit, which leads me to more acceptance of any form of success in myself. And now I think I'm good enough to earn some money with Life Overflow. But not too much money, just a bit. But unfortunately, as I said, I'm not only judging myself, I also judge others. I see people who to me are no experts and have not proven themselves enough, yet are very successful economically, for example through selling courses or because they are very influential in general. The feeling is obviously jealousy. I know I'm jealous, there's no way to hide that. I want to make this clear. These are my honest feelings. I know they are bad. I cannot judge somebody else's merit. I have no right to request them to prove their skill to me. And what I perceive to be the right amount of skill to a certain level of success, everybody else will have a different scale. I must not arrogate the decision to myself whether somebody has enough merit or not. I know these are subjective feelings and clearly not based on any objective assessment. So eventually I need to be able to get past it. I want to be happy for other people's success and not only when I think they deserve it. And with that, let's move to chapter 2, facing reality. The reason why I do not like to have these feelings is because I have seen how the world actually works. After I finished school and started studying in a dual study program, I started working at a large IT corporation. During the following years, I had different internships in that company. One in particular just left me dumbfounded. I joined the team, so there were multiple people whose only job was it to look up data in one program and then copy it over into an Excel sheet. And then the manager of that team would run an Excel macro that analyzes the data for like an hour and then spits out some graphs and statistics they then present to some higher ups. At this moment, I realized that the world is full of weird jobs that are pretty well paid in IT and do not even require any skill. But even for the jobs that seem to require skills, for example as a developer or pen tester, I very quickly noticed skill is not that important. I am a white guy in Germany with a very German sounding name. I knew I would never have a problem to find work because I knew I can be convincing in an interview. Of course, it's not just being a white dude, I brought skill and experience, but I have seen many people being more skilled than me not getting jobs or opportunities. And here I am having an easy time wherever I go. Some people call it soft skills or just want to see if you can fit in the team. But unfortunately, prejudice from sexism and racism are the actual driving factor if you fit in. As a white, German, harmless looking guy, this has never been a challenge for me. Many of you look at my channel and think, yeah, this person has skill, of course they can get a job. But did I get a job because of merit? My job doing security audits, I did not get just from having skills. In fact, at the time I was very much not experienced. It was networking. I knew a guy who knew a guy. To be more precise, I knew Stack Smashing and he recommended me to somebody else. And everybody a bit longer in the IT industry would tell you that many job opportunities come from networking and meeting people, and that in the end it's very much the opposite of a meritocracy, because now all that matters are the connections and relationships you have. I think this is also the best moment to recommend this awesome video by Veritasium. Is success luck or hard work? Everybody who strongly believes only hard work makes you successful, watch that please. Of course, some level of skill is required, but hacking skills are very difficult to measure. Yet companies need to do that, so the industry is starting to get a lot more regulations and checklists. With only a little bit of training, you can follow those checklists good enough to be sufficient for the corporate world. That's how large parts of the industry works. The creativity and deeply technical hacker skills are oftentimes not needed. So if you are purely interested in this industry for the money, then it's really not that difficult. You probably have to spend 50% of your time on learning, which you can easily cover with a few basic certificates, and the other 50% of your time you spend socializing and building your personal brand, and you should be fine. I hate that. I personally am in IT security because I love the technical details, and there are, of course, really technical and awesome jobs. But that's by far not the majority. I don't like it, but that's just reality. But the internal struggle I have goes further. On one side, I agree that work-life balance is important, and it's also okay to work just for the money. Nobody should be forced to work as much as current culture requires it. Mental health, taking breaks, focusing on family should be celebrated and normalized. But at the same time, I'm not living that. I'm not employed, so it's a bit different. But I love to sit in the dark for 16 hours to hack away. Fuck work-life balance. I don't want to go outside. And I cherish every nerd who spends their time building cool stuff and doing awesome research instead of wasting their time socializing. A crazy nerd can learn in 1 year much more than many normal people will learn over 5 years at some corporate job. In the end, it always comes down to how much time a person actually invests. And I want to celebrate and acknowledge people that do that. But also at the same time, I know that's toxic. And that's why I struggle with those thoughts. Looking at this objectively, I don't want to be advocating a toxic lifestyle. And your life is obviously worth living even if you don't want to be a basement-dwelling nerd. But at the same time, I think it's awesome when somebody's dedicating huge amounts of time for projects and learning. Cognitive dissonance, I don't know what to do with my feelings. And that leads us to chapter 3, social media. In the beginning, I already mentioned how I feel about the size of my audience and that I also judge other people's social media success. Social media is a place for marketing. On social media, good marketing and entertainment will always succeed over any kind of actual cool work. And some people can play the game very well. I very often find myself thinking about how I want to approach my social media. I hate to be a personality. I want my videos to be the focus, not me. But if you have been a subscriber for years, you might have observed my slow evolution. It takes me literally years to become more comfortable with this personal brand aspect of social media, but it started with the first time me showing my face, getting Instagram, making an autobiographical video series about my life and appearing on more podcasts and interviews. On some days I think, F this, I don't want to be famous. And on other days I think, when other people are allowed to be famous on social media, then maybe I should be a public person as well, to be an opposing force, somebody who can focus more on the technical stuff. This might sound a bit arrogant, but I hope with my videos I can keep growing and supporting the technical side of our hacking culture. I want to show the world how nerds reverse engineer Frogger, how bug bounty hunters find crazy vulnerabilities, and I want to highlight the amazing skilled hackers doing awesome research. So I think if I play the social media game a bit more, I could redirect this gained attention to stuff I want people to be more excited about. I don't want to talk anybody down. I don't want to discredit anybody's success because I probably cannot judge any merit accurately anyway. And at the same time, please do not mistake success as being a sign for skill and good work either. It doesn't work this way. I will still judge myself a lot, I think that's important, but I want to judge others less. At the same time, I will try to be more part of social media and slowly, very slowly, start doing things I initially was maybe uncomfortable with, because I really don't want to become a bitter old man. And so if I think I can do things better than others, I should probably just go for it. So based on my feelings, I wish we lived in a meritocracy. I wish we were all anonymous nicknames and we just judge each other's technical projects, research and bugs and nothing else. I wish me being a white dude would not give me so many advantages. Unfortunately, reality is not like that. And trying to hold on to the fantasy of merit will always turn into toxicity.